Like so many scenes from the life and ministry of Jesus, I think this one is a little confusing. We see two women who welcome Jesus into their home. One seems to be focused on all the practical things, tending to the needs of the guest. Perhaps she's preparing a meal or providing libations for those gathered in her home. The other seems content to sit at Jesus' feet, to listen to everything he has to say. She seems fixed on who he is and what he's about. The tension quickly becomes apparent as the active sister becomes upset with her contemplative sister. She tries to seek a judgment from Jesus to affirm her sense of being wronged. Jesus, tell my sister to get off her behind and get some stuff done here. I'm doing this all by myself. But we know that Jesus doesn't take that tack with Martha. He focuses in on Mary and says that Mary's doing the right thing. Mary has chosen the better thing. Now this is distracting because we think about sort of the fairness factor in the midst of it. We get caught up in thinking, well, Mary ought to get up and help her sister. That would just be right. That would be just. That would be just. So we move into this domestic scene that's characterized by functional differences. We try to sort of create a scenario to wrap our heads around what's happening. So we cast Mary as a contemplative. I've hinted at this, right, in the first part. We cast Mary as this contemplative sort that is engaged in spiritual practice and prayer, philosophical contemplation. And we think, well, that's important. That's important because one has to contemplate to understand. One has to become quiet. One has to become still and know before one knows how to engage this strange character from Nazareth that offers a new way of being in the world and a new take on God's love. But then we look at Martha and we think, well, Martha's a doer. Martha's active. Martha sees a need and meets it. She doesn't just sit around contemplating her navel like some sort of hesychast. She jumps up and gets things done. Well, we need people like Martha. We need people that act, that do, that respond. So in our heads, we create this scene where we see them as complementary, kind of yin and yang. They come together and make a much richer whole. We need both types. And isn't it great in community when both types come together, because we can accomplish the goals of the organization when we have the thinkers and the doers. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that sermon over the last 25 years. The doers and the thinkers coming together, and isn't it marvelous? Now, the only trouble with that sermon is that it's not what the text says. The trouble with that sermon is that's not Jesus' point. It might make us feel better, but it's not what Jesus is saying here. Martha and Mary don't present us with two valid paths, one of action and one of contemplation. They show us how one individual apprehends the moment that they encounter Jesus. Recognize that moment for the gift that it is and responds to that moment. Jesus' indictment of Martha isn't that she's active. It's that she seems to be worried and engaged in activities that are a distraction, that are causing her to miss the moment that she has, that are causing her to compromise the opportunity that is right there in front of her. So this isn't about functional differences. This isn't about how we need people of various skill sets to make things work in this world. This is a story about how one gets it and one almost misses it. So the real question that Mary and Martha present us with this morning is about Martha and her capacity for change. Can Martha, given Jesus' instruction to pay attention to the opportunity that is before her, can she drop the distractions? Can she push the worries aside and recognize who Jesus is and what he's about right there in front of her? Can Martha fixate on the opportunity she has rather than the things that consume her thoughts and create anxiety such that she might miss it? Well, the text kind of comes to a close and leaves that question unanswered. We bring the scene to darkness, and Mary and Martha go off somewhere and do something. Who knows? Who knows what happens? Luke doesn't really tell us again.